Okay. We have everything. Okay, I'm going to say hi in the chat. Okay, I think we're ready to start. So yeah, hello everybody. Hope you are having a great summer. Today I'm going to explore the unit testings with PHPUnit in WordPress. And to give you some context, the thing is that I've been working recently in a course for advanced developers, and it covers like several topics, and one of them is unit testing in PHP. So I've been researching a bit more and getting more in depth about this, and I have learned a few things that I would like to share in this session, but also some other things that I would like to explore live with your help. So yeah, I think this is an interesting topic, and I haven't found like too many updated resources. I mean, the cool thing about this topic is that the information that I found, that it was like, I don't know, 10 years ago, it was still relevant because not so many things have changed regarding this topic. But also, all the things that I have found, they cover more or less the same, which is the setup and like some introduction. So yeah, there were some things that wasn't super clear, and I would like to cover them in this session. So yeah, you have the chat in Twitch and in YouTube. Feel free to share your questions. And yeah, let's go. I'm going to share my screen, and let's get into the topic. So, okay. First of all, what I want to do is to write some diagrams. I'm going to reset this. Okay. So let's start about explaining the difference, because I think this is an interesting topic, the difference between unit tests and integration tests. So let's write here unit tests And let's write here integration tests. Yeah, basically, well, unit test is actually, I think it means different things, because you could say that unit test is like the general idea, and then there are like different types of unit tests. Being the more closer to the original definition, the first group we are going to cover. But this one also fulfills the purpose of a unit test. So what are unit tests? Unit tests is code that checks that all the code work as expected. Or in the more official definition, it would be code that checks that when passing some values, our code return always the same values. Well, this is not a super good definition, but what I want to say with this is that this is isolated code, no side effects, and this test is test that has side effects, which means it affects database, it may affect files, it modifies things that are happening somewhere else, and we can check that. So when we work in a WordPress project, we have PHP code. We also may have JavaScript code, and we can have tests for both. We can have tests for JavaScript and for PHP. But for PHP, we can test the code in different ways. The typical thing is to use PHPUnit, which is a framework that provides the tools. Let me put this somewhere else. So we have here unit tests. And then we have here I need to find a better name for this. And then we have integration tests. In order to run these tests, at the end, we have our original code, but then we can also create other code that checks automatically that our original code works as expected. Why do we need to do this? Because with the unit tests, we can easily check that our code works as expected. And we can run a script, and there will be automatic checks that our code works as expected. This is very useful whenever we have a big project and there are several people working on the same code. We can check that even with the changes that we are doing as a team in the code, the main things we want our code to do still work as expected. So unit tests need to be like easily triggered or easily launched with a command. We can launch them as many times as we need. They should be fast. They should be fast, and they should be launched in an environment that is cleaned after every execution. So fresh environment every time, more or less. And we can launch tests with several frameworks. The other day I discovered, let me see if I can find it. Yeah, this thing. This is a test framework. I mean, a test framework is like the tools we use to run the tests. And this is as simple as a function that checks that an expected value is equal the actual value. So we run our code, we get a value, and we compare whatever our function or class return that value, we compare that with an expected value. And that's the way we usually have to check that our code works as expected. Okay. So PHPUnit. So we could run tests in this, for example, here. This is, we would require a function, and with a function it, we would check that a specific assertion is fulfilled. So another interesting idea is the idea of assertions. So PHPUnit would be the framework. This is the framework. The testing framework. That, among other things, it provides assertions. Assertions are functions we can use to do this comparison of expected values versus current values. If we come here, PHPUnit assertions, here we can see all the functions we have available for our tests to check things. For example, a very simple test would be this one. We create a class that extends test case, and when we extend test case, we have access to all the assertions, and one of the assertions is assert true, false. This test will fail because we are expecting a true false, and this expression, it returns false. In this case, it's a Boolean value, but here we could have a variable, or we could have like another comparison. Then we have assert false, and we have like a lot of assertions. Yeah, here we can see all the different assertions we have available to compare different things. Like, for example, to compare, there was one of them for arrays. Assert array has key. Yeah, we will use all these assertions to check that assertions. Okay, I'm going to put this here. Assertions to check that an expected value is equal the current value. Okay. What else? Some more ideas before we start doing things. So yeah, unit tests versus integration tests. What are the requirements? So unit tests actually doesn't have too many requirements because we expect to test code that has no dependencies. Let me open cursor. And streams. And here I have some links. So we have unit tests that is test that okay, so for example, I have this, but then I'm going to open another window. And I think I have here in test experiments, yeah, we have here several tests. And for example, we have here the a plugin example, okay? We have here a plugin example. This plugin corresponds to this WordPress.com blog intro to WordPress plugin development, which okay, so I'm sharing the article that contains the code we are going to check. So very quickly, what this plugin does is to add an estimated reading time, a specific batch. So it filters the content of the posts and it adds this batch. Okay. It adds this batch and the code is this. So there are several things that, well, most of the code relies on WordPress functions. Like for example, here, this QRT add reading time, we are adding filter to the content. So every time there is content delivered, it goes through this filter, and here we do some initial triage or some filtering to only act in specific cases, like when we are in a post and when we are in the loop or in the main query. So in that case, we get the post content, we get the option because our plugin is prepared to write and read settings, and from there we are getting the plain content. So we are stripping the HTML tags and everything that is not text. In order to do that, we are using a function that is called getPlainContent, and this function is here. get plain content. This function is using well, this is not a good example because this function is using WordPress yeah, they both are using WordPress functions, so they have the dependency of that framework. So in this case, this is not useful to have it in a separate file. So I'm going to just do this. Post content. Okay, and I'm going to remove this one. But this one, we get a value, we convert the value to integer, and then we check that if the value is 0 or negative, we return the value. If value is a positive value, we return the value, and if it's 0 or negative, we return 200. So this is a function that doesn't have any dependencies. It doesn't have any dependencies. So so we could test this function with a unit test, with a simple unit test. So let's do that. What do we need to test this function? We need a framework that allows us that give us access to some assertions. So what we can do is to here we are going to go to quick reading time with tests. We are going to install PHPUnit. We are going to install PHPUnit using Composer. So we are going to initialize Composer here. Okay. Would you like to define your dependencies interactively? No. But dev dependencies. So I want to install PHPUnit package gist composer. Okay, this is the name of the package. So yeah, I want to install this one. Please answer this one. Latest version. Set for a package. For now, that would be enough. We can add PSR for autoload mapping to SRC. In this case, we don't have the code in SRC, but we can put it in SRC. So, yeah, SRC. Yes. Install dependencies. Nice. Okay. So we have SRC, and what we're going to do is to move this to SRC. Okay, how can I move Okay, I think it would be, maybe I could require this file from the index, and I have all the code. Okay, let me ask Cursor about this. Okay. How can I move these two files inside the src folder in the context of a WordPress plugin? So I guess it could, this will move these files to src, and then the index will be a require, I think. But I'm not sure about that. So let's ask for help. So we move the helpers PHP to the src folder, and we move the index PHP to the src folder as well. And then we create a new plugin file that will serve as the entry point. Okay, and we have to also update the path of the CSS. Okay, so we have, yeah, exactly. We have, well, we have this to prevent direct access to this file. Then we are defining these variables, and then we are just requiring the src index, which is the one that is actually doing all the magic. So yeah, exactly. So this is what I thought. Keep, and then the style CSS in the index. Okay, because we have defined these constants of plugin path. If we come here, there's the other one is plugin URL. Yeah, the asset is loaded like this. Okay, before we continue, let's check that we are that this works as expected. So let's do a clear, and then what we can do here is we have a WP-ENV.json, which is the configuration file for WP-ENV. For those who don't know what WP-ENV is, in the blog editor handbook, there's a nice introduction of getting started with WP-ENV. And also the full information is in the package documentation page, which is this one. So this is also some information about WP-ENV, and we also need to, this depends on Docker, so we can launch Docker. And what we can do is to WP-ENV start. This will take this WP-ENV.json that is going to install the current folder as a plugin. Okay, so WP-ENV start is going to run WordPress in Docker containers. So in order to do that, it needs to download the containers and then launch them. So here in Docker, we will see okay, there was actually this one that we can remove, so we only have one. Yeah. There's some conflict when there are more than one, so I'm going to also remove this, and I'm going to restart again. So the containers have been already downloaded, so this is going faster now. And then here we have our WordPress environment that is running inside Docker. So if we come here to this we can admin password, and we go to plugins, we have our plugin here. So we are going to test that this works. So if we come here, hello world, if we go to, yeah, we have our batch is working fine. So what we're going to do is to create a tests folder. A test folder. Okay. And here, what we are going to test is helpers test PHP, because in our code we have some helpers. We are going to test these two functions here. So in order to run PHPUnit, we need a configuration file, which is an XML. Yeah, so we have this one. When we run a PHPUnit, is going to use this configuration file that can be as simple as this, and here we can start doing our different. So we're going to test unit, and this is going to be here. Then what we can do is copy and paste this, and we can make this a file that is called phpunit.xml. phpunit.xml, and for now we are going to remove this. We can add more things here, but for now I think this is enough. We are defining the test suite, so we can run this test suite. file, new window. Yes, I'm going to open some notes that I have to be a bit faster. Okay. Yep, this is enough. So here, and then what we will do is we will do this. We will do vendor vim PHPUnit. In theory, it will read this file and it will execute all the files that are here. If not, we can specify this config. So now we can create our first test, and I think there's here an example. So we can use this. So we can take this file and we can go to tests, helper test, PHPUnit framework test case. Do I need this? Do I need this? Yes, we need this. We are going to load a PHPUnit. With this, we will use the namespace of test case, so we can do this. And my first test. And what I'm going to do here is assert true. Assert true, true. Demo test. Demo test. Okay. Let's check if cannot open Bootstrap script. Okay, we need to specify a Bootstrap script. Let me see. I want to check one thing. Is this because we are not specifying configuration PHP PHPUnit wow, we have here a lot of flags. Hyphen configuration and the okay, because it's hyphen configuration. Okay, so we need to specify the Bootstrap, and we can generate this Bootstrap file here. Bootstrap.php. and this Bootstrap file can be as simple as this. And then we need to specify this location here in the PHP unit. So in the PHP unit, okay, we have here, it's defined here, so that's why, okay, that's why it was failing. So yeah, we don't really need to specify this. Okay, class helpers test cannot be found. We are running tests unit, and class helpers test, what we are testing here. Okay, so if we have here public function, test I didn't know this, so the name is important. So if I have this, okay, this is also working. Okay, one test, one assertion. But if I change this to false, this is failing. Okay. Okay, now we can start testing what we wanted to test. So we need to load the files, and here what we can do is use this, okay, and then what I'm going to do is to test sanitize WP-ENV, and we can see that this function, for a specific value, if value is a positive value, it will return that value, and if not, it will return a default value of 200. So the tests that we can do is check that it returns 200 when I pass 0, that it returns 200 when I pass a negative number, and then we can maybe just test that it returns a positive number when so now we can run the tests. Call to undefined function. Okay. Let's ask cursor. Okay, it cannot find the because okay. Because a function and it's not a class, so I need to do this, use function, this, yeah, and then here yeah, exactly, I need to do this. So call to undefined function. So here the helpers. Okay, let me see. ABS int is a WordPress function. I thought it was a. It's a WordPress function. I thought it was a PHP function. ABS int PHP. It's a WordPress converts a value to non-negative integer. Okay. Let me see. Okay, so we have a lot of dependencies here. Next step we could do is to in this case mocking the function is not going to be helpful. So I think, okay, this is a dependency. So what's happening here is that we are using a lot of things here, PHP. We can say dependencies. Background is going to be this, and it's going to be here. So the only dependency should be PHP functions. PHP functions and classes. Or in case we have a dependency, external dependency, in the case we have an external dependency, what we do is we mock them using different libraries, like Mockery is one of them, and the other one is Brain Monkey, right? Mockery PHPUnit. So we have Mockery, which is a tool to mock objects in PHP. So I'm going to add this here. Mockery. But then the other one was Brain Monkey. Brain Monkey. Brain Monkey. Brain Monkey. So this one is for WordPress. Is to mock WordPress things, and this other one is to mock non-WordPress things, just to simplify. So if we have an external dependency from, I don't know, from any service we are using, we can use Mockery, and if not, we can use, if it's a WordPress thing, we can use Brain Monkey. Basically, a mock is like our own version of that class, our own version of that function. So we can customize the values that are returned, and we can return always the same values. Because the final idea behind mocking things is that we shouldn't test WordPress. We just need to check the functions are called. So what we do is we mock the classes and we mock the functions. So by mocking, we can, for example, check if that function has been called, with which values has been called, how many times, and that's enough for us. We don't need to actually check that when we call a specific function, there is something happening in the database or whatever. We shouldn't, because there are tests in WordPress that already check that. So for our plugin or our thing, we can just mock that external dependency and just check that those functions are being called. Okay. But when we want to actually test the effect of calling that function, that's when we use integration tests. And in order to run integration tests, we need a better environment. We need to actually use a specific database. So I'm going to do, okay, we are going to, this one, we are not going to use it. We want to just test this helper that was calculate reading time. This is a PHP function. These are all PHP functions. So we don't have any external dependencies. So what we are going to do is calculate reading time, test calculate reading time. Okay. Then apply a, I don't remember the function, but I know there is a PHP function that repeats the word a specific number of times. Exactly. And so we can test that hello returns 100. Let me see the helper function. So we count the numbers. Hello has 6, no, only one word, and we have a 200 per minute. Okay, so we can use that. If you use repeat this word 400 times, we should get, what do we get in minutes? So calculate reading time. It returned the estimated reading time in minutes, so we should return 1. Okay, 1 and 2. Yeah, that was fine. And okay, so it receives 2 values. The first one is the plain content. The second one is the WP-ENV. So, and is there a default? So, words per minute. If we have 100 words per minute, we just want to have 1. But if we repeat this 400 times and we have 100 words per minute, let's repeat this. It will be 2, and then let's say just to make sure 10. Repeat. Okay. Clear. Okay. If we say 1 here, this fails. Nice. Okay, so this is an example of a unit test. Then let's see if we can mock. Yeah, the sanitize WP-ENV. This is not useful as well. Sanitize WP-ENV absent. Okay, let's ask. Is there an equivalent? Function in PHP to absent to WordPress absent? Okay, so let's use that. And now we are going to test this one. And I'm going to, we are going to use function clear. Okay, so helpers test sanitize WP-ENV, fail asserting that 1 matches expected. Fail asserting that 1 matches. Okay, so here, so it's 0, and so this change is not working well. Here, ABS, this is Okay, I'm going to add an icon here. Okay, so we have value 0, value 1, okay, so this is a negative number, and here we are ABS-int converts a value to non-negative integer. Okay, so it does the same. That's fine. Okay, that's fine. So it's that's fine if it's ensure okay, ABS int ensures the, so here we are converting this to integer and also to integer and also to the absolute value of number. And absent value, this strictly it should be the same. Okay, I'm going to postpone this because I want to tackle the execution of tests that the execution of integration tests. So in order to do this, we need to have a specific environment. So in order to do this, we need more dependencies in that PHP. We have external dependencies, and in this case, we are not going to, well, we can mock them, but in the case of, we can mock, this is an option. It's an option, but one of the external dependencies will be WordPress, which means we need the code and we need a database, a testing database. We need a testing database. We need the code and we need the testing database. Luckily, when we use WP-ENV, we have here already we have here already different containers, and one of them contains a copy of the WordPress code, which is actually here in this location. So Docker has installed tests WordPress. If we go to tests WordPress, we can see this is a WordPress installation we can use. But then we also have WordPress PHPUnit installed. So here we have access to a lot of classes, a lot of code specifically designed for testing WordPress with PHPUnit. So we have this here. No, sorry. WordPress PHP, WordPress PHPUnit. Okay, let me see this. Yeah, this is a version that we need for that. Okay. So what we can do is to prepare a test and what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy and paste some tests that I have from the previous session that we generated automatically. Bear with me, I'm going to open just one. I'm going to open all of them and we can decide which one of them we want to actually use. So this is the project we did in the previous session. Okay, so I'm going to take this folder and we are going to copy this here, but this one is going to be integration. So we will have unit and we will have integration. And here we have the tests. So for now, I'm going to, which one do I want to test? Which one do I want to test? Something that is easy, sanitize. Okay, for example, let's focus on this one, and the rest of them I'm going to hide them. And the way to hide them is to, because let me see here, what we had is this. This is the this is PCS, is okay, the tests are here. Okay, this one. Yeah, and this is the suffix. Yeah. So we can take this and also here. Okay, let's copy this. And we can create another one. And okay, what we can do is how we can organize this. Maybe we can do dist just to be super clear. Maybe we can just do this, and then PHP unit. So we can have like both configuration files. We can have PHP integration, and then we can have a PHP unit. And the integration one, we have name unit, and here name integration. We are going to the directory is test integration, but we also added a suffix, so all the tests with the that end with test PHP. Okay. I'm going to remove this, and this file is test integration bootstrap PHP. Okay. And bootstrap PHP, the thing is that we need to run this file inside of the Docker container, because we need the WordPress code and we need the WordPress database. So to run this inside the Docker container, I think that we had that here. Yes, we can do something like this. I'm going to create here a package JSON. Okay, we can install WP-ENV as a local dependency. I have it installed globally, but we can install it locally. So what we can do is just npm I, which is the alias of npm install, but now when this is nicer, because then we can commit this project, and the next developer cloning this repository, when they do npm install, they will also have access to WP-ENV. So I would say this is a better practice. So okay, we have already installed WP-ENV, we have it installed. And now what we can do is to run in this tests CLI, that if we go to the Docker container, we can see that we have a test CLI. The number that goes after that is the number of the instance. So in the case we have 2 instances with the same name, then there will be like a number 2, number 3, etc. And then this is the name of the Docker I think, yeah, I don't know the nomenclature well, but this is, yeah, the name of the, I would say, the Docker instance, and then each one of the, yeah, Docker instance, and then each one of these ones are containers. So this is an ID that is assigned automatically, but we can specify. If we go to WP-JSON and we assign here a name, okay, let's try this. We put this here a name. What we can do is WP-ENV destroy name is not a configuration option. Let me see its name. Or it's a different one. I wrote a post. So in WP-ENV, WordPress, WP-ENV JSON, okay, so okay, no, I need to review that. Yeah, this name can be defined, but I don't remember exactly how. Okay, well, the thing is that this is the container. This is the folder inside Docker where the plugin is installed, that I think it takes by default the name of the folder. So what we can do is update this here with our folder name. Then and test suite unit, and here we also need to specify the specific XML, and here also the specific okay, we haven't we're going to remove this, to remove this. Okay, let's simplify. Let's just keep these two ones. So inside the Docker container, if we go to test CLI, we can see that inside the container we have mounted the current folder, WP tests experiments quick reading time with test, into this folder inside the container. So we need to say here that we want to execute this in WP content plugins quick reading time with tests. This is WP content plugins quick reading time with tests. And if we go here, we can see that inside this folder we have the vendor where we have PHPUnit, which is fine. So in theory, if we do npm run test unit, we should okay, this version of PHPUnit requires PHP higher than 8.3, and inside the Docker container we are using PHP 8. Okay, so what we can do is to what we can do is in the WP-ENV JSON we can specify the version. Maybe this version of PHPUnit requires a version equal or higher than 8.3. So maybe we can just do this. Okay, how do I update it? This is like m. Yes, this pxm start update. So with the start update, what we do is to update the containers in Docker with this updated configuration. So it will update the PHP version in the Docker container. Okay. Okay, so it's updating the container. We have unit and integration. We have both our XML config files. We have different Bootstrap files for the integration. Let's review this in the meantime. We are doing here more things. So there is a okay, and now if we run again okay, we are running the unit tests here. Yeah, we are not going to do this here for now. So, because we are going to test this with the other tests. So test unit, calculate reading time. Okay, so if I do if I run the tests from the host, if I run the tests from the host, okay, I need to specify the configuration file. So this configuration is so we have here configuration equal this. We are having the same error, which is a good sign. Call to undefined function, calculate reading time. Calculate reading time. If we go to the PHP unit, tests unit Bootstrap, we are using autoload. So I'm from SRC. In theory, we have here calculate reading time, calculate reading time, helpers PHP. So here is not finding this function. Okay, let's ask for help. Yeah, this is some the helpers files and being loaded properly. Calculate reading time. Yeah. So the Bootstrap, the unit, we are loading here the helpers. Okay, I thought with the auto load something is not working well with the auto load. Okay. Shouldn't the auto load take care of loading the file when I do this? We need to add this to Composer. What have we added to the Composer? We have other files. Okay. Nice. Nice. So what I'm going to do is in this Bootstrap, okay, keep in the Composer, and now clear. Okay, now it works. And now if I run this inside npm run test unit, good. But this is inside the container. Nice. So now what I'm going to do is integration. The reading time we are going to I'm going to remove all of them for now. I'm just going to test sanitize. Okay. So here WP-UNit test case. This comes from the version of PHPUnit that is specifically designed for WordPress. This is what's been mounted here, this one, this test PHPUnit, which actually corresponds to, we go to WordPress develop GitHub. This corresponds to this folder. This folder here includes. So if we test WP-UNit test case here, we have here that this class extends this other class, and that this class extends the PHPUnit original one, but also it provides things like a factory that can be used to create posts and users and taxonomies and comments and a lot of things. But we need to load this, and this is what the Bootstrap here does. There is a environment variable. If we check here, so WordPress is in HTML and this is in WordPress PHPUnit. Okay, so test dir. Okay, I think that maybe we can comment this because test dir. How can I print? Yeah. So Docker provides an environment variable WP test dir that points to this folder that contains PHPUnit. So then test dir is that folder. So we have okay, this is for the polyfills. I'm going to also comment this. Test dir is WordPress unit. If we go here, includes, no, what was the code? Includes functions. If exists, so if doesn't exist, we're going to comment this. But if it exists, it loads this function. Nice. Then it manually loads the plugin, which is this file, and then the index, which is the index. Where's the index? Is the, no, in this case, okay, we are loading here. No, we need to load the plugin. In order to load the plugin, we need to load this PHP file. I'm not sure about how this path is going to look like. I think it's going to work because of this, because we are saying that the command is executed from here. I think so. Well, we can see if it works. Test add filter. Okay, we don't have access to this because an IntelliSense, this is the article that I wrote here, we need to specify the path. So what I'm going to do is here, I'm going to okay, we need to open this. We are going to open this in a new project, and here what we're going to do is to settings, workspace settings, so we need to include in IntelliSense. Okay, so the problem we are having here is that in the tests, in the integration tests here, for example, we don't have access to tests add filter, and here we don't have access to WP-Unit test case. So what we're going to say, what we are going to tell IntelliSense is the location of these things, and these things are here. So we are going to we can say this, and also we can say WordPress PHPUnit. WordPress PHPUnit. WordPress PHPUnit. Okay, so if we reload this, so in tests WordPress, well, another option to do that is we can install the stubs. Okay, so let's do this via the composer packages, and then also this, and then we are going to copy this. And reload. Nice. and the assert same, we can also say vendor Okay, why don't I have visibility? Let me ask this. Why IntelliSense cannot see this when I have this settings? So this assert same, because we haven't installed the polyfills package. So okay, so it has added the polyfills package, and now we can run. We can install this. And then we can run composer update. Okay, there's a conflict. There's a conflict with PHP versions. And with this, I should be able, well, in the meantime, I'm going to continue with this. Okay, and now we reload. Yeah. Okay, so the thing that we have done is, no, but we want to extend. No, this solution doesn't work for us. WordPress core, and then WP-Unit. Let me see, vendor. We go to vendor, WP PHP stubs. Okay, I need to check this. Well, this is just for IntelliSense. The thing is that I like to have the code here so I can link in IntelliSense, but yeah, this is done. We can have stubs, but then we can, like, an approach is to install the the Composer package locally just for IntelliSense, so we can link to the code from IntelliSense, which is really nice to understand what you're doing and to see the code of the functions behind. Okay, but what I want to do is to launch this test, the integration test. So in order to do that, I'm going to clear, and we are going to launch integration. Okay. The PHPUnit polyfills library is a requirement for running the WP test suite. And WordPress PHPUnit. Okay. This is something that we have commented here. Okay. WordPress okay, so WordPress PHPUnit, which is the path. Okay, so this is correct. Then what we can do here is we can also so there's no WP test PHPUnit polyfills path. This is something that should be okay. Let me see. This is something that should be available in the Docker container. So what we can do is okay, let's check the Composer JSON here. We're going to copy and paste this Composer JSON, keep all, and I'm going to Composer install. I'm going to remove this. Oops. I'm going to remove this and Composer install again. Nice. So clear, and then I'm going to run the tests again. Okay. Failed opening required. So plugins, tests. Bootstrap. So in the Bootstrap, this failed to open, no such file or directory. So WP content plugins, quick reading time with test integration, Bootstrap, PHP Online 36, on line 36. Okay, this file, yeah, this is not working. Okay. Okay, so in line 36, quick quick reading time with tests. I'm not sure with, let me see. Let's ask for help again. Okay, I want to try to live with this properly running. The Bootstrap file is trying to load the plugin from online. It is looking for testing tests. In the parent file. Okay. Okay. So the Bootstrap is fixed, and now stop. So what we are doing here is, okay, this is, let's run the test from here. Okay, namespace declaration statement has to be the very big. Okay, so here. Okay, I agree. Okay. Call to undefined function, QRT sanitize. So, okay, the Bootstrap is not properly loading. We have here quick reading time PHP, which in theory it should also load src index, and src index should load this, which should include this. Okay, so if we do here this, this. Okay, so there is one failing, this one. Okay, So we have this one is failing. Curtis sanitize WP-ENV. Okay, now we can use the former version that was it was ABS int value